side by side, but my heart's running ahead. Every little glance leaves words unsaid. Tell me, do you feel it too? Like the seasons waking up with you. Nothing's changed, but something's different. Every touch leaves a trace I'm missing. Windows open, hear the world start singing. Every step with you, the sky feels bigger. Maybe love's been waiting in the rhythm. Guess we're dancing through the signs of spring. Barefoot trails on a sunlit afternoon. Fingertips drawing circles in the blue. If we're dreaming, don't wake me yet. Let's keep writing what we won't forget. Nothing's changed, but something's different. Every touch leaves a trace I'm missing. Windows open, hear the world start singing. Every step with you, the sky feels bigger. Maybe love's been waiting in the rhythm. Guess we're dancing through the signs of spring. Open, hear the world start singing. Every step with you, the sky feels bigger. Maybe love's been waiting in the rhythm. Guess we're dancing through the signs of spring.
In the chaos of the day, I find a calm in what you say. Every word and every smile makes my troubles worth the while. In the quiet of the night, your love brings everything to light. Every moment, every touch shows me that I found so much. True to you, I'm all in your love, I always win. Every heartbeat, every view, with you, my world is new. In the quiet of the night, your love brings everything to light. Every moment, every touch shows me that I found so much. True to you, I'm all in. In your love, I always win. Every heartbeat, every view, with you, my world is new. As the world keeps spinning fast, I find a love that's meant to last. In the moments big and small, you're the reason for it all. True to you, I'm all in. In your love, I always win. Every heartbeat, every view, with you, my world is new. True to you, I'm all in. In your love, I always win. Every heartbeat, every view, with you, my world is new. As the world keeps spinning fast, I find a love that's meant to last. In the moments big and small, you're the reason for it all. When the noise starts to get loud, I'll remember the love we found. In the true and endless view, I see forever me.